पदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरंगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण।
Hey Krishna, that was so wonderful, Gayatri ji. You really added auspiciousness and a nice start for our satsang. As you know, we are in the middle of a beautiful Leela that's happening, unfolding between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna, Krishna Bhagavan. And we're going to be just covering that. But before that, we'll just do a quick Kirtan and then we will dive into that, into the Krishna Katha. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. I was just thinking, Vrindavan Prabhuji, you just have to
Yes,
sing a nice, beautiful song for us. Some nice bhajan.
I can singing?
Yeah, if you can sing Prabhuji, nice bhajan for us.
Oh, that's good. Excellent. 1 minute. You can tell before. I can ready for you.
I was just singing and I was thinking about you. I was thinking like,
Yeah.
Vrindavan
Oh,
Prabhu.
yeah. চলো নিতাই গুণমণি আমার নিতাই গুণমণি আনিয়া প্রেমের বন্যা ভাষাইল অবনী প্রেমের বন্যা লইয়া নিতাই আইল ও গৌড় দেশে ডুবিয়াব কত গণ দিনহীন বাসে দিনহীন পতিত পাবন নাহি মোর পাছে ব্রহ্মার দুর্লভ প্রেম সবাকারে যাচে আবদ্ধ করুণা সিন্ধু নিতায় কাটিয়া মোহন ঘরে ঘরে ভোলে প্রেম আমি আবহন লোচন বলে মোর নিতাই যেবা না ভজিল জানিয়া শুনিয়া সেই আত্মঘাতী হইল জানিয়া শুনিয়া সেই আত্মঘাতী হইল নিতাই গুণমণি আমার নিতাই গুণমণি আনিয়া প্রেমের বন্যা ভাষাইল বনি জয় শ্রী নিত্যানন্দ ভগবান কি জয়
Yay. Oh, wow, that was so divine, Prabhuji. It's so beautiful. I can't tell you how wonderful you sang the bhajan. So much of devotion. Thank you so much, Vrindavan Prabhuji. So
thank you
beautiful.
thank you
Very nice. I was just, that's why maybe it was nice that I asked you because I was just.
anybody can explain to this good nobody any time
Which one, Prabhuji? This one which you sang?
yeah
Yeah, I never heard this song, Prabhuji, because there's so many beautiful bhajans, and maybe I would have just listened once, but
You could check in the kksongs.org. There you would find this kirtan and also translations as well.
Okay. In KK song, Prabhuji. Okay, yeah, maybe that's. I'll have to check that out. I think. Yeah.
Just Google there and then type the kirtan name and then space KK songs. You will immediately see that on link.
Okay, Prabhuji. Shall I check it now or?
Yeah, you wish, Prabhuji.
Yeah. And what's the name? How do I spell this? Nitai. Prabhuji, what do I give the name as? This bhajan.
bhajan
Yeah.
নিতাই গুণমণি
Yeah.
নিতাই গুণমণি আমার নিতাই গুণমণি
Yes, this one.
Yes.
Nitai Gunamani. Sometimes when you see the lyrics and I was like, how does it sound? And today we got a taste of it, and this is how it sounds. Very nice. I'm going to listen to this, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this. Very nice start. Yeah, so we were going to just go into this chapter. So before we go that, just offer obeisances. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapikanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwara Vishbhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jai Om Vishnu Padaya Paramahams Pararajacharya Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So before we start our Krishna Katha, as we always remind, offer this beautiful sloka from Bhagavad Gita. In fact, Prabhupada in many of his conversations would mention about this particular sloka, where Krishna mentions about how auspicious it is to listen to Harikatha. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yurvitatvitaha chakradeham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. Where Lord Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, even though every person who's born has to die, but the only exception is that one who's listening to Harikatha, he carries so much of auspiciousness that towards his end of his life, a devotee who's in Krishna consciousness, who's always listening to Harikatha, does not come back into this material world, but they will directly had the benediction of going to the supreme planet of Krishna, which is called as Krishna Loka. So it is that auspicious just even to listen to Krishna Katha. So it is so joyful that we could all the devotees can join together and be listening to this Harikatha together. And that's when the real nectar can be found, when we are listening in the association of devotees. And this is exactly what we are trying to do here. Sanchit Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining us. Hope Pallab Prabhu is also with you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Yeah, Prabhu is nearby here. Yeah, I mean, I made some effort to join because this week has been like, Pranshu was not well. He had another asthma attack. So since Sunday, we have been in the temple, hospital. He just discharged yesterday. So still struggling, but yeah, I just thought join for a while.
Yeah, Mati, thank you so much, because I think this is something, it also gives us some peace and a better thing when we are in association of devotees listening to Harikatha. So always a joy to have your association. I can't thank you enough, because this is so precious in the middle of all the busy day. Taking time off for Krishna Katha is something really precious. So thank you for that. And Paritosh Prabhu, thank you for joining us.
Hare
So-
Krishna. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm late.
No problem at all, Prabhu. We just did a beautiful kirtan. Nitai Ganamani, Vrindavan Prabhu just sang a beautiful kirtan. It's there in the recording. But yeah, Vrindavan Prabhu, we would like to keep listening to more of your beautiful bhajans. It's really joyful. So we're covering a beautiful chapter. We already started this chapter called chapter 63. Lord Krishna fights with Banasura. There can't be anything more beautiful. We already seen how the son of Banasura happened to be the son of Bali Maharaj. And then Banasura, we know that his daughter falls in love. Usha falls in love with Krishna's grandson Aniruddha. And we also seen how that Usha's, her prime minister's daughter Chitralekha, she goes and brings Anirudh by her yogic powers. She brings Anirudh and to the castle, to the palace of Usha, and then Anirudh was staying over there. And we also seen how when Banasura gets to know that his daughter Usha is having Anirudh in the palace, he gets very angry. And even though he sees Anirudh looks so beautiful. Obviously, he's a grandson of Krishna, so obviously he's so beautiful, right? At the same time, because it's a Vedic culture, and in those days, a boy coming and living over there at that time with his daughter was something which was like, everybody would speak about that, and he couldn't take that, so he immediately captures Anirudh. And because of that, we find that Anirudh hasn't returned home. Krishna's grandson Anirudh doesn't return home, and after 4 months also, and that's when the people realize that actually that Anirudh is gone missing, and then they get to know that actually he's in the city of Sonitapura, where Banasura's empire is, and we also know that Banasura is a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva has given a benediction to Banasura that he's going to have 1,000 arms. Like, can you imagine like how that kind of a benediction would work? And Banasura was having so much of pride that he was looking for people whom he can fight with. And there was nobody ready to fight with him. Then Lord Shiva realizes that this person has got a lot of pride, and he tells him, like, you're going to be facing the music. They're going to have somebody who's going to be fighting against you. So all the people basically from Dwarka, the entire Yadu dynasty, basically like Krishna's family, like, we all know that Krishna, in the earlier this thing also, Krishna has the chief queens like Rukmini Devi, Satyabhama, and like that. And but all of them, including Krishna's son Pradyumna, Satyaki, Gada, Samba is again Krishna's son. So all of them, they just came together and formed a big military phalanxes, and they came to fight with Banasura and his army. And we also know that on one hand, you have Krishna and Balaram and all the Yadu dynasty fighting on one hand. And on the other hand, we have Banasura, who's been blessed by Lord Shiva, who actually Banasura asked Lord Shiva that, if he can be on his side to protect his kingdom. So here we would find that Lord Shiva is directly taking part in the war that is unfolding between the Yadu dynasty and Banasura's family. And we can find that last week we covered about that Pradyumna was engaging with how it was like a fight between Lord Shiva and Krishna, and Pradyumna was with Kartikeya, and Balaram was engaged with Banasura's commander-in-chief. Like that, everybody were like one-on-one. They were like just fighting with each other, kind of a thing. And then we've seen, like, whenever something like this happens, like all the demigods like Brahma and all these things, they're like so curious to see the fight, because this is not something which they would see on a day-to-day basis. And we also spoke about how it's so important for us to understand through the Krishna Katha. It's just not the living entities who are living in this planet, but there are some higher planetary systems where you have Siddhas and Charanas and Gandharvas who are also actually living in higher planets, just like how we are living in the earthly planet. And even they are so curious to find out like what's happening in the battlefield and who's going to be winning this. And obviously they know about Krishna. But again, Krishna has got many names. Ashutosh, someone who's very pleased so easily. He's called as Bhutanath, who is assisted by powerful ghosts and all that. And we see that how when the war was unfolding between Lord Shiva and Krishna, and that they were kind of like, Krishna obviously was through this Leela, because many times when you have Vaishnavas and Shaivas and just fighting, who's powerful and things like that. But the most important thing in Krishna consciousness is that our faith in Krishna and our knowledge about Krishna is based on Shastra. We are basing our knowledge on KrishnaBook. We are basing our faith completely on the Leelas that are coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. So our faith is not blind faith, but our faith is based on transcendental literature. It's because when we say Bhagavatam is the form of Krishna. It's the form of Krishna. The whole Bhagavatam is a form of Krishna. There's no difference between Bhagavatam and between Krishna. At the same time, there's no difference between the deity and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Everything is one and the same. That's why reason why we call Krishna as absolute truth. Because everything is a form of Krishna, or even this is Bhagavatam, in fact, is a literary incarnation of Krishna. So Krishna, we can see that even though Lord Shiva has been assisted by all the ghosts, because he's called as Bhutanath, he's always worshipped by the ghosts, as we have seen in Kumbh Mela as well. A lot of Aghoris and all the Shiva devotees, they would come around. But they were no match for Krishna, because Krishna, without any difficulty, contracted all of these things. If Lord Shiva would use a Brahmastra, then it was like an atomic bomb, because in those days, those bombs were based on all the mantras. The sound vibrations, based on this, they would recite the mantras and they would release those bombs, like the Brahmastras and all that. They had to know those mantras in order to release and activate. It's almost like an activation code, like how when you have a new account, you have the activation code like that. So these weapons are based on those. Activation is based on those mantras that they would recite, and that would unleash the power of the mantra of the weapon. So Lord Shiva would release a particular weapon, like hurricane on one side, and then Krishna would release a mountain weapon on another side. And I was just mentioning, like we literally seen when we grew up, like these kind of wars were shown in our movies back home. We would see that it was so interesting, and we were thinking like, wow, does this really happen? But when we see Bhagavatam, we realize that yes, it really happens. This is how it really, even the real war happens. And we see that we also heard about, like, Lord Shiva once given his Pasupati Astra also to Arjuna, because he won fighting against with Lord Shiva, because Shiva was so pleased to give him a Pasupati Astra. So here we can see that in between the fight between Lord Shiva and Krishna, that he also used Pasupati Astra, and Lord Krishna contracted with the Narayana Astra. So we can find that in every fight that is happening, Krishna was always having a more upper hand in terms of like the kind of a weapon that he could contract, even if it is. And also we've seen, like, that Krishna was using a yawning weapon also, which makes somebody gets tired, and that's how Lord Shiva becomes so fatigued that he's not able to fight anymore, kind of thing. But again, like I said, the way I always look at it is, we have to also understand that Krishna is the supreme Lord of the universe, but then he has these are beautiful Leelas, where even Lord Shiva and everybody are assisting in being part of this beautiful Krishna Leela, which is coming in from Bhagavatam, from the Krishna book. And such a beautiful loving, even though we see, like, through the Leelas, you can get to know that even when you go to Vrindavan, first you have to take the blessing of Gopeshwar Mahadev. And so that's kind of a beautiful relationship that Lord Shiva also has with Krishna. And so here we can see through these battles, like how Krishna unleashes the yawning weapon, which puts Krishna to start yawning. And he begins to, not only Krishna, after Lord Shiva gets tired, and he starts beginning to kill Banashura's personal soldiers also. And then Pradyumna was fighting previously with Kartikeya. So we find that Krishna's son, we know about Samba is one of the son, Pradyumna is one of the son, and they were fighting directly with Kartikeya. So you can imagine, because they were able to fight with someone like even Kartikeya, who was supposed to be the chief of the demigods. Why? Because Krishna is their Krishna Amsa. They are part and parcel of Krishna. They are direct descendants of Krishna. So you can imagine, in terms of opulence, in terms of, in terms of the power, they were just getting directly from Krishna. And so here in this fight, that even Kartikeya was wounded and was bleeding. So that is the kind of a power. Then we all know that, Kumar Swami, in South India, you would know, Kartikeya is Kumar Swami, and he comes usually on a peacock. And Lord Brahma also smashed Banashura's Kumbanda. with the strike of with the club. As we all know, Lord Balaram is always assisting in the Leelas of Krishna. This Balaram is the same as Ananta Seshnag, is the same as Lakshmana in Ramayana, but always assisting Krishna. And we also seen that when Lord Krishna was taking away Rukmini, Lord Balaram was, along with his Yadava family, was fighting all these Rukmini's soldiers. So we find that even Kumbanda, who was actually the commander, he was also wounded and he fell. And so thus we covered all this immediately with Krishna's cut off Banashira's bone into two pieces. So obviously we know that Banashira was getting very angry because his commander-in-chief, everybody were defeated and they were all going down, Lord Shiva, whom Banashira was worshipping. Even he was also no match over there at the same time. So now Banashira gets ready to fight with Krishna with his 500 bows and 2,000 arrows. Can you imagine? Why? Because why he was able to use so much? Because he had got 1,000 arms. So these are Leelas actually. In a logical sense, we cannot think like how one person can have 1,000 arms, but we have to understand, as I always mention, we are talking about a different yuga, like Dwapara Yuga. People are different. The kind of caliber of the people are different. The kind of a power that the people had was different. Everything was different in those days. The height, the personality, the lifespan of the people, right? In Satya Yuga, people would live for thousands of years. In Dwapara Yuga, at the age of 175 years, Bhishma Pitamaha were roaring like a lion on the battlefield. 175 years, can you imagine? So we are talking about a different time, because as Prabhupada always says, time, place, and circumstances. These things we have to consider before when we are doing Leela, when we're talking about Krishna Leela. Time, place, and circumstances. Right? There was a different time when people, the kind of strength they would have would be different. So no matter how many, even if he has 1,000 arms, even though Banashira had 1,000 arms, and with working with 500 bows, he was no match for Krishna's strength, because Krishna is unlimited. He can, like I said, one of the names of Krishna in Vishnu Sahasranama, which is like whatever Krishna caches, that particular thing gets the power, that it becomes into a deadly weapon. Once it gets into Krishna's hands, so Krishna can do anything. So Krishna was able to even cut off Banashira's bow into pieces. And after this, Krishna blew his conch shell Panchajanya. So we all know about that. And there was a demigod. Yeah, and we spoke about this. Kotara was worshipped by Banashira. Even that Banashira was upset. That is, like from this Leela, we can understand that during that point of time also, because one of the things we had to understand, the Yuga Dharma in Satya Yoga was meditation. The Yuga Dharma during the time of Ramayana, when Treta Yuga, it was fire sacrifice. And in Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was deity worship. So during that time of deity worship, even people like Banashira, they used to worship these demigods, like Kotara. Kotara is one of the demigods, like, they used to worship. So she appeared in this, she appeared on the scene in order to divert Krishna's attention. She appeared naked up there and she tried to turn her face. And because of this, when Krishna turned his face aside, then that's when Banashira got a chance to run away from there. So that's how he happened. So that's how this demigod, Kotara, tried to help Banashira in escape from the battlefield. And all the strings of the bow got broken down. There was no chariot and all these things. So he had to lost everything in his life. So we covered that, and we spoke also about Jwara. I think we covered till here, where we spoke about Lord Shiva using this bowl called Shiva Jwara, which generates unlimited heat. And then we've seen that how Lord Krishna contracted it with Narayana Jwara, which is another weapon. So one hand, it was Shiva Jwara, which was generating a lot of heat and things like that. And it was Shiva Jwara was a person personified. It has arms and everything. And on the other hand, Lord Krishna released the Narayana Jwara, which was actually coldness, which could counteract. And that's how Krishna's Narayana Jwara was able to overcome the heat Jwara that was unleashed by Lord Shiva. So we can see that through these beautiful Leelas, like how even the Lord Shiva's Shiva Jwara temperature diminution, Shiva Jwara literally, like as I said, the Jwara was like, even though it was a weapon, it was like a person personified. And even when that went crying for help from Shiva, and Lord Shiva was not able to help also. And he could understand that there is no way of escaping. And that's when he surrendered onto Narayana, Lord Krishna himself. So we also have to understand that when Krishna has expands himself. He can show himself as Narayana. We all know about when Lord Krishna once appeared, when he was missing, when he was there with the gopis and he went missing, and he appeared to the gopis in the form of Narayana, the four-armed Narayana form. And even though the gopis had so much of love only for Krishna, that even though when they seen the expansion of Krishna as Narayana, they just offered their obeisances and they just left from there, because in their heart and the mind, they just love the form of Krishna only, even though Krishna showed his Narayana form. And the same in the case of when Lord Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna. Even Arjuna was so bewildered when he see the universal form of Krishna. So if Krishna wants to show, he can show his universal form also. But even though even great archer or great warrior like Arjuna could not see the universal form of Krishna, right? Then Krishna showed his four-armed Narayana form, and then he came back to his original form, and that's when Arjuna came back to his, he started loving this beautiful form of Krishna. So the beautiful thing is, like, even though Krishna can show himself in so many different ways, but Krishna is just in front of us in the form of a beautiful deity, happily playing a flute and showing his beautiful, colorful form for all of us to fall in love with him. If he wants to show, he can show a very fearful form as Narasimha avatar. Or he can show his beautiful, bigger form as a universal form as universal avatar as well. But Krishna is in Kali Yuga is so nicely coming in the form of this beautiful Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This mantra, I always say, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the form of Krishna. Kalikale Nama Rupa Krishna avatar. That this Kalikale, this in Kali Yuga, Krishna has descended in the form of this Nama Rupa. So this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the Nama Rupa of Krishna, it's the Nama avatar of Krishna. So we can see that even the Shiva Jwara surrendered to Krishna and bowed and started offering the prayers, that Lord Krishna became very pleased. So this incident of fight between the ultimate weapons of Lord Shiva and Krishna proves that if Krishna gives someone protection, and we said that, Rake Krishna mare Krishna rake ke. If Krishna wants to kill, nobody can protect. And if Krishna wants to save, then nobody can kill that person. So we've seen from this beautiful Leela. So this is where our love for Krishna comes. We know Avasya Rakshabe Krishna Viswasa Palana. We have the faith that Krishna will always protect us. Just like how Bhakta Prahlad had the faith that my Lord will always protect me. Lord Vishnu will always protect me. So no matter, so these Leelas of Krishna tell us that as long as we are in the material world, there is going to be danger. Padam padam vipadam. Every step there is going to be a danger. Even the great devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, they were subjected to dangers. So it shows that as long as you're in the material world, there is going to be dangers. There you will be put through a lot of fire. You'll be put through so many difficulties in life. That is going to happen. Even when Krishna was there, the Pandavas had to go through a lot of pain. But through the Leelas, we can also understand that devotees also face through a lot of problems. But we can also know from the Leela that devotees have so much of faith that no matter the through the tribulations and no matter through all these kind of dangers in life, Krishna will always protect us. Krishna will always maintain us, because Krishna gave us his word through Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna told Arjuna, you are my favorite devotee. You declare to the world, Kaunteya Prati Janahi Name Bhakta Pranashati. Arjuna, you tell the world, a devotee of Krishna will never perish, because I will always protect him. So Lord Krishna can create, Lord Shiva can maintain, can annihilate, but neither of them can maintain. It's only Krishna who's maintaining all the living entities, and which is what he was saying, Krishna was saying, right? Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. I am the life between all the lives that he lives. So Lord Shiva is created from the born Brahma, and Lord Shiva Jara is understood that without Krishna or Narayana, no one could help him. So I just wanted to start off from here. If anybody could like to read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yeah, definitely, Prabhuji. Sorry. Yeah. My dear Lord, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, because you have unlimited potencies. No one can surpass your potencies, and thus you are the Lord of everyone. Generally, People consider Lord Shiva the most powerful personality in the material world. But Lord Shiva is not all powerful. You are all powerful. This is factual. You are the original consciousness or knowledge. Without knowledge or consciousness, nothing can be powerful. A material thing may be very powerful, but without the touch of consciousness, it cannot act. A material machine may be gigantic and wonderful, but without the touch of someone conscious and in knowledge, the material machine is useless for all purposes. My Lord, you are a complete knowledge, and there is not a pinch of material contamination in your personality. Lord Shiva may be powerful, demigod, but because of his specific power to annihilate the whole creation. And similarly, Lord Brahma may be very powerful because he can create the entire universe. But actually, neither Brahma nor Lord Shiva is the original cause of this cosmic manifestation. You are the absolute truth, the supreme Brahman, and you are the original cause. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation is not the impersonal Brahma influence. That impersonal Brahma influence rests on your personality. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the cause of the impersonal Brahman is Lord Krishna. This Brahman influence is likened to the sunshine, which emanates from the sun globe. Therefore, impersonal Brahma is not only the ultimate cause. The ultimate cause of everything is the supreme eternal form of Krishna. All material actions and the reactions take place in the impersonal Brahman, but in the personal Brahman, the eternal form of Krishna, there is no action and reaction.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Varun Prabhu. Thank you for joining us. Very nice. Nagar Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Nagar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry
It's a beautiful prayer. I mean, I think personally, I feel these prayers that come up in Krishna consciousness, in our Krishna Katha, they're very, very beautiful and they're very, very powerful because how do we develop faith? How do we develop this knowledge? And we can see the multiple things we can learn from this Krishna Katha. That one, in those days of Krishna consciousness, everybody was so knowledgeable, spiritual world. In this Kali Yuga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Manishyanam sahasreshu kastit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kastit mambeti tatvatha. Out of 1,000 among men, hardly one person is interested in spirituality. And out of one person that who is interested in spirituality, if you collect all of them, hardly one person knows Krishna. Can you imagine how rare it is? Krishna consciousness is so rare that Krishna himself is saying, out of 1,000, one person is interested in spirit. And out of them, hardly one person knows Krishna in truth. That is how this material world is. But in those days, in Dwapara Yuga, people were everybody. You can remember when we spoke about the prayers of Vasudeva, when Vasudeva was speaking to Kamsa, he was talking so knowledgeable, right? And everybody, like you see in Muchukonda's prayers, how nicely he was telling, I don't want any benediction, I just want to serve you. So people on those days of a different era, they were like so knowledgeable. So you can see from this, like even the Shiva Jwara Astra that Lord Shiva released on Krishna, in that Shiva Jwara is personified. He's offering these prayers to Krishna, that Krishna, you have unlimited potencies. And your potencies, through the devotees' prayers, through the Shiva Jwara's prayers, we can get to know that the prayers where the understanding that you have unlimited potencies, that you are the Lord of everyone. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. You are the Supreme Lord. And even though the Lord, many people worship Krishna because Lord Shiva is called as Ashutosh, very easy to please, very easy to get your material benedictions. But at the same time, we know in terms of the qualities that Lord Shiva doesn't have all the qualities that Krishna has, 64 qualities. And so now to some extent we do have, but he's powerful, but not all powerful. But it's Krishna who has all the 64 qualities. And he's called as Bhagavan because he's unlimited potencies. He's got 6 major potencies, and he's the original consciousness. And it's a very beautiful sloka which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Yata prakashayate ekaha Krishnam lokam imam ravi kshetram kshetri tata Krishnam prakashayati bharata. Where Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, just that when the sun comes, we find that it illuminates the entire world with its sunshine, right? When the sun starts appearing in the morning, it illuminates the entire world with the sunshine and all the darkness disappears. Similarly, Krishna is telling when the Atma enters into the body, then the body is illuminated with consciousness, right? Such a beautiful comparison, isn't it? When the sun comes, darkness disappears and there's light all over the place. Similarly, when the soul enters in the body, the whole body is lit with consciousness, illuminated with consciousness. But this consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Because we are covered by this material world or material three gunas of Sattva guna and Rajo guna and Tamo guna, we have forgotten this original consciousness. So that is the reason why Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to tell us that originally you're all Krishna conscious, but you have forgotten. And that's the reason why Krishna says, right? Mamaivamsa Jeva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. You are all part and parcel of me. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, your original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. You are all part and parcel of me, but you have forgotten our relationship because you have fallen into this material world. So now how do we regain our consciousness? By practicing Krishna consciousness, by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by listening to the Hari Katha. This is how we kind of elevate our consciousness, rising above the three gunas. Because Krishna says, Traigunya Visya Nistraigunya Bhavarajana. Arjuna, you have to rise above the three gunas. And how do we rise above the three gunas? By always practicing Bhakti Yoga. Yeah? Mamcho Yogya Bicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samichaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So you have to rise above your consciousness by practicing this Bhakti Yoga. So here it is this Shivajwara is telling us that they could be a very powerful material thing, but without consciousness, nothing, it cannot act. Like even if you take this body is nothing but just matter, dead matter. But without the consciousness, without the soul, this body is nothing. What is the difference between a living body and a dead body? The dead body doesn't have the soul as left the dead body. That's when you call it as a dead body. And because there is no soul, there is no consciousness. Right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the most highest thing is your soul. Indriyani paranyahur indriye vyaparam mana manasastu para buddhe yo buddhe paratastu saha. Krishna says first the senses come. The senses are higher than this body because this body, this material body without consciousness is just dead matter. So Krishna is telling your senses are more powerful than this body. Above the senses is your mind. Above the mind is your intelligence, and above the intelligence is your Atma. So the Atma is the most, and because the Atma is there, there is consciousness. So this is what he's saying. A material body is there, but without the touch of consciousness, it cannot act. Like this body cannot act if there was no soul and no consciousness within it. Right? So he was telling, like, my Lord, you are complete knowledge. You're the goal of the knowledge. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivashish Sharanam Surit. And there is no pinch of nothing which can contaminate. That's the reason there is no pinch of material contamination. So even when Krishna comes, he was above all the three gunas. He is not contaminated. When we come into this material world, our consciousness is totally under the control of these three gunas, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tama guna. But Krishna is above these three gunas, right? He is not contaminated. That's the reason why even the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra doesn't come under the control of this material energy. It's above. And that's the reason when you associate with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, simply you're elevating your consciousness above the three gunas, Sattva guna and Rajo guna and Tamo guna. Because why? Because this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is directly coming from the Krishna Loka. It is coming from Goloka Vrindavan. So it is not contaminated by this material energy. So if you are associating with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you also be elevated above this thing. So even though Lord Shiva may be a powerful demigod because of his power, and Lord Brahma may be very powerful because of the creation, but both of them are given certain responsibility, but they're not the original cause of the cosmic manifestation. And we all know that the original cause is, the cause of all the causes is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshi Arjuna Tisthati. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchita Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna is the original cause between all the causes. So the original cause of the cosmic manifestation is not the Brahma effulgence. So it's very important because some people, they think that, oh, it's all Brahman. From Brahman, all these avatars are coming. You know, there's people having different kind of perception about Krishna, but Krishna is making it very clear in Bhagavad Gita. Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya hi dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. Krishna makes it very clear that I am the basis of the impersonal Brahma effulgence. I am the basis, which means this impersonal Brahma that we are talking about is actually the basis of that impersonal Brahma is Krishna himself. There cannot be this Brahma effulgence without it is coming from the body of Krishna. So the original cause of all this thing is Krishna. Like when we see sunshine, we know that this sunshine, the cause of the sunshine is the sun. Similarly, when we know about the Brahma effulgence, we should know that this Brahma effulgence is coming from Krishna, right? In fact, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that his Krishna Loka is not lit by the sun or the moon. Krishna Loka is kind of lit by the Brahma effulgence. Na tadbhasayate suryo na shashanka na pavakaha yattadvara bidivartante taddama paramam mama. Krishna says, Arjuna, that Krishna Loka where I come from, it is not illuminated by the sunshine or moonshine. No, it is illuminated by Brahma effulgence, where it is coming from Krishna. So we can imagine. So that kind of a knowledge we're getting from Bhagavad Gita, that this planet Earth needs a sun and a moon, but this original spiritual world, there is no sun and moon because it is lit by Brahma's effulgence, which is coming from Krishna. So this is what Krishna, this person is telling, this Shiva Jwara is talking about this, all these material action reactions that take place in this impersonal Brahma, but actually they are in the personal Brahma, the eternal form of Krishna, and there is no action or reaction. So such a beautiful thing, isn't it? We're getting to know. Can I ask anyone who can, if we can, you can just read the next paragraph. Sitaji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, shall I read?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Okay, one second. The Siva Jara continued, therefore, my Lord, your body is completely peaceful, completely blissful, and devoid of material contamination. In the material body, there are actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. The time factor is the most important element above all others because the material manifestation is affected by the agation of time. The natural phenomena come into existence, and as soon as phenomena appear, fruitive activities are visible. As a result of these fruitive activities, a living entity takes his form. He acquires a particular nature packed up in a subtle body and gross body formed by the life air, the ego, the 10 sense organs, the mind, and one of the 5 gross elements. These then create the type of body which later becomes the root cause of various other bodies, which are acquired one after another by means for the transmigration of the soul. All these phenomenal manifestations are the combined actions of your material energy. You, however, are the cause of the external energy, and thus you remain unaffected by the action and reaction of the different elements. And because you are transcendental to such completions of material energy, you are the supreme tranquility. You are the last word in freedom from material contamination. I therefore take shelter at your lotus feet, giving up all other shelter. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you, Mataji. That's wonderful. So very beautiful, isn't it? From the prayers, we can see like how the Krishna is being glorified, and Krishna is like, we can also know through this prayer that Shiva Jwara, who's actually been a weapon unleashed by Lord Shiva, is taking shelter of Krishna. And Krishna tells that in Bhagavad Gita, that everybody is eligible to take the shelter of Krishna. Mam hi partha vyapashrityo ye pisyu papayonaha striyo vaishyas tata sudras tepi mam param gatim. Lord Krishna says anybody who takes shelter of Krishna, they can be Sudra, they could be Kshatriya, they could be Vaishyas, women, anybody. Krishna says everybody is eligible to take the shelter of Krishna, and they can reach the self-supreme destination of Krishna. So Krishna is giving us so much of hope. Never think that you will never look down upon yourself, that every one of us, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are all eligible. Never think you are fallen, never think you are sinful. We are all covered by this material energy. And because we are covered by this material energy, we're covered by different gunas, but we all have to rise above these gunas. So here, Shivajara is talking about Krishna. What do we call this Paramatma? Satchitananda Vigraha. Sat, full of knowledge. Chit, full of knowledge. Sat, eternal. Chit, full of knowledge. And Ananda is very blissful. Vigraha, a personal form. So we can see through this that Krishna is, that body is completely transcendental. He's not covered. He hasn't got a material body like us. Krishna's body is completely transcendental. We see that even on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna was looking like a 16-year-old because his body is not impacted by the material energy, but we are impacted. That's the reason why, right? The body keeps changing all the time. Dehi nosmin yata dehi kaumanam yavanam jara. Krishna says, as the Atma passes in the body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into the another body at the time of that. So our body is constantly changing, even though the soul doesn't change. But in this, he's making a distinction that Krishna's body is completely transcendental, it's full of bliss, and it is devoid of material contamination. When Krishna comes into this material world, or Krishna's Hare Krishna mantra comes into this material world, it is untouched by the material energy. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sharvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyata. Krishna says, the Atma, we, under the influence of false ego, we think that we are doing all the activities, but in actuality, everything is being done by the three modes of material nature. So these three modes of the material nature, they are the ones which creating all the actions and reactions. And Krishna makes so beautifully explains, Karya karana kartritva hetu prakriti uchyate. So Krishna is, through that particular sloka, he says, Karya karana kartritva. That means it is the material energy which is creating all these kind of like, ups and downs and things like that. And we are it's the living entities who are suffering and enjoying all these things. But actually the Karya Karana Kartritva, it is the one material energy which is doing all this. It is making us go through these ups and downs and creating all kind of situations and all that. And we are the ones who are just dancing. That's why there is a beautiful picture which shows the material energy is like making us dangle like puppets, and we are just like puppets in the hands of the material energy. We're just dancing to the tunes, and we think like sometimes when we create situations, happy situation, then we become happy, sad situation, then we become sad. So we are all under the influence of this material manifestation, but it's not. Krishna is beyond this thing. He doesn't get affected by this thing. And Krishna also mentions the difference between an ordinary person and non-devotee and Krishna conscious person is a Krishna consciousness person, a person who's engaged in a transcendental knowledge of Krishna. He gets to know why, when somebody is in Krishna consciousness, he knows that why somebody is being blessed with a beautiful life, because he's done some piety in his previous life, and that's the reason why in this life he's enjoying certain things, why he's got a certain. But somebody is suffering, we know a Krishna consciousness person or a person who's transcendental can understand that this person has been blessed with this, has been given certain kind of a body because he must have done something in his previous life. So the good and bad that we are enjoying, or what kind of a form that we are taken, a Krishna conscious person or a transcendent person who's got transcendental qualities, he knows that why this person has got this kind of a body. Because after all, the gross body comes to an end at the end of life, but the subtle body, which consists of your mind, your false ego, your intelligence, that subtle body carries this Atma from this body to another body. And depending on your karma, you get kind of a different kind of a body in your next life. Shariram yad avapnoti yathyape utkramati swaraha grihitvaitena samyati vayurgandam ivasayat. Krishna makes it very clear. Just like when you pass next to a rose garden, you can feel the smell of roses. Why? The air is carrying the aroma of the roses and passing on, and that's when you feel that. Similarly, the Atma gets carried by the subtle body from one body to another body. So just like the air carries aroma, Krishna is saying the subtle body also carries this Atma from one body to another body. And depending on your karma, you get a different kind of body. You kind of get a different kind of suffering because of your whatever karmas that we have done in our previous life. Like I was saying, like Santa Claus, in Christmas time, he's always, if you see the picture of Santa Claus, he's carrying a big bag, right, around his shoulder. Like that, all of us, we come into this material world like a Santa Claus with a baggage of prarabdha karma, all the things that we have done in our prior life, and we are enjoying and suffering the prarabdha karma that we are taking from our previous life. And that is why we're talking about, like, dehi nosmin yata dehi kaumaram yamanam jara. Because even the soul, just like the soul moves from boyhood to youth to old age, Krishna says at the end of life, even the soul transmigrates into another body. And only this can be understood only by a Krishna conscious person. This knowledge cannot be known. This knowledge is not taught in any universities. It is not taught in any colleges. Nowhere is it taught. It is taught only in Krishna consciousness. That is why Krishna consciousness person has the highest knowledge. And Krishna tells, like in Bhagavad Gita, that one who knows Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the knower of everything. You don't need to know anything, because the whole purpose of studying the Vedas and understanding everything is to understand that Sri Krishna Bhagavan is the Supreme Lord. And if you can get to know that through Krishna Katha, through these beautiful prayers that are being offered by the devotees, then your intellect, we will get to be convinced, because your mind is just following the dictates of your intellect. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to purify our spiritual intellect by listening to Harikatha. So because by listening to Harikatha, if your intellect is convinced that yes, this is the reason why Krishna is called as the Supreme Lord, then your mind is just aligning with your intellect, and then your senses get purified. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to purify our intelligence, which is not, because in today's material world, talk about artificial intelligence, but what we need is, we are a spirit soul, and what we need is spiritual intelligence. That's right. And Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that whatever lust that you have in your life, you can remove that only with your spiritual intelligence. Evam buddha param buddha samstyapyatmanam atmanaha jahi satru mahabahu. Krishna says the one and only way you can destroy this lust that is there in all of us is by developing the spiritual intelligence. And how can we develop the spiritual intelligence? How can we purify our spiritual intelligence? By listening to these beautiful prayers in Krishna Katha. And here he's saying, because you're transcendental to all these compulsions, you're the supreme tranquility. And Krishna, in one word itself, he says, right? Aham sarvasya prabhu mata sarvam pravartati iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava. He's the supreme Lord. He's the Lord of all the spiritual and material worlds. So here, through the Shiva Jwara, we can get to see, like, even though he's a deadly weapon which has been unleashed with the Lord Shiva, even the Shiva Jwara is taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So that is through this we can understand, through these prayers. These are very, very beautiful prayers, and which is full of spiritual realization. And by the spiritual realization of the devotees, we get to purify our spiritual consciousness. And we get to benefit by that, by listening to this Harikatha. In fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kunti Devi's prayers of Krishna, where she said, let us always be in problems so that we can never forget you, Krishna. Please give me as many problems so that I can always think about you. So a Krishna consciousness person should develop such kind of a consciousness that whenever you're in problems, immediately take that as an opportunity to think about Krishna. Think about that and make your chanting even more deeper. And we are in happiness, try to thank Krishna, and with the mood of gratitude. So in every time, whether you're in happiness or in a disturbing situation, we can make our prayers deeper for Krishna and take to the lotus feet of Krishna. So I want to end over here. In the interest of time, it's 9 o'clock. It's just past 9:04. So I just want to stop over here. The nectar is just flowing and flowing. And the prayers are so beautiful. I really enjoyed them. I'm sure you would have enjoyed these prayers as well. And then we got some more. The Leela this Leela is not yet complete. So we're just going to continue with the Leela next week as well, along with the prayers. So I'll stop over here. I just wanted to open floor for any realizations, any corrections, or anything at all. Hare Krishna. Vrindavan Prabhuji, anything, any comments, anything?
Prabhuji, I heard about this is Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha is very good, but in Punjab, it's a somewhere I'm going to forget about. That's like Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's a Nam Krishna, for 1 second. Nam Chintamani Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. We are Krishna, we know Krishna, how know Krishna? When you taste and Krishna Katha, chanting nicely, properly, then Krishna knows that we at Krishna still I'm with me. Then the test. That's a Prabhupada said that Chaitanya Charitamrita, I read that book. That's a Krishna. Very important. I heard about today speaking like something middle of the and I'm very that story I had it. It's very good. Very good. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, that reminds me that it's a very beautiful thing, isn't it? Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Siddho Nityamritto Bhinnatva Abhinatvam Nami Namini. There's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's Maha Mantra. That means we chant
And
mantra
Krishna Katha.
and Krishna Katha. Beautiful. Yeah, very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Adi, for adding nectar for us. I mean, this is
Hare
why
Krishna Prabhuji.
blessings of wonderful devotees like you. Yes, Varun Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Today it's also Hanuman Jayanti.
Hanuman Jayanti, yes. Very beautiful. You
Yeah,
celebrated.
that's why. Yeah, celebrated. I have an idol at home, so I just made. I got coconut from Aldi, so just gave the presents to him with one diya and one banana and a coconut. That's what I can do. That's what I have done.
You can see actually we have Hanuman over here.
Yeah.
But Hanuman over here, got Rama and Sita as well.
Rama, Sita.
We
Yeah.
could have done
For one thing, I cannot speak. There's Shiva talking. You talk to Shiva, but Shiva incarnation is Hanuman.
Yes, exactly. It's beautiful, isn't it? Such a nice. Yes, Varun Prabhu. That's another thing to note for today, isn't it? Is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So how beautiful. We are just talking about Lord Shiva, and there you go. We have Hanuman Jayanti. That's
Hanuman
happening.
Jayanti.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. And I've been having pretty ups and downs in my life at this point, going through everything, but I'm still trying to be positive, trying to do what I can. Tomorrow I will go to ISKCON again, but that's not been stopping me not going anywhere. But still, I'm trying my best, hoping my best to see what I can do. But yeah, I've been a bit lazy. That's on my side of things. But still, once in a while, that.
Very nice. Varun Prabhuji, you've been very honest and frank, and that's why we should always be very open. This is our, we call this is our spiritual sangha. We should always be ready to share and things like. But let me tell you a couple of things. You're not alone. Everybody is facing challenges, including mine. As I speak to you from today morning, I was just sitting and sorting out my problems, and life is going to be like this, Varun Prabhu. Nobody can escape, and everybody is facing challenges. And that's why we had to, from time to time, we had to remember Krishna's messages. Matras parsasta kaunteya shitos nusukho dukkada. Agama payino nityastam titiksasva. This ups and downs, they just like the summer and winter season, Arjuna, one should learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. And you're doing the right thing, actually. That no matter how many challenges that you're having, you're not leaving Krishna consciousness. You're not leaving joining for Harikatha. And this is what Krishna is telling us in Bhagavad Gita. That don't lose... don't lose hope, because Krishna is with you. Even when Krishna was there, Pandavas went through hell. So many problems, right? They tried to kill them. They tried to do so many things. But towards the end, they came victorious. So we should have that faith that this is going to be a passing cloud. These things are...
Yeah, hopefully.
Never blame God for anything.
Not everything that goes into my head, I understand. But even I just go there because tomorrow it will be Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, 13 or 14. But I don't understand completely, but I still sit there so I can listen to other people's question and try to understand what I can till that point, but not completely into it. I'm trying to. Sometimes it's hard for me to understand some of the things. I do ask my mom sometimes. She tells me the answers.
Varun Prabhu, one thing I want to tell you, none of us, including me also, none of us are like, we can assimilate everything in Bhagavad Gita in one go. For me also, so many things, as we keep reading and reading, Krishna keeps revealing and revealing. That's how it works. As we keep reading little by little, Krishna keeps revealing little by little. So never be hard on Just take it with the flow as much as you can, because you can only eat that much, right? Like that, you can only
Yeah.
eat that much. So just be happy with that knowledge, and you have to take baby steps and keep learning and learning, and Krishna keeps revealing himself, and never be hard on yourself, never be hard on yourself, thinking like, why I'm not understanding. Krishna will reveal at the right time. That's the way it works. Spiritual knowledge is revealed. It is not something we mug it up like a geography or history or something like that used to do in our school days or college days. So Krishna keeps revealing himself. The only thing is, like, I want to just tell you that you're not alone. Everybody is facing problems in their life. This is the nature of the material world. Netralayam is a place of eye clinic, like that. Krishna calls it as like Netralayam, Dantalayam. Krishna calls it as this place, this material world, as Dukkalayam. This is a place of suffering. And we came, we don't know why we have come. But this life is to understand that if I'm suffering, it must have been because of something. But let me have all the spiritual strength from Krishna. We always should tell Krishna, on my own, I cannot fight my battles. Krishna, please, if I can have you, give me the strength to fight my battles. Be with me, guide me, so that just like the way you guided Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, just guide. These are the prayers that we need to have. Give me the strength to fight my battles, because on my own I cannot fight. But if with your strength, with your shelter, then I can fight my battles. That should be our prayer, right? So never give up hope. The devotees are always there with you. This is where you need to draw your strength from the prayers, as you can see from Shiva Jwara. That way you see like Avasya Rakshabe Krishna, that kind of a thing. So, Naira Prabhu, Moga Prabhuji, anything would you like to add, Sanchita Mataji?
Very nice, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It is very wonderful to hear Krishna Katha. It's all pleasing. Maybe we request Gayatri Mataji, Shweta Mataji to for any reflections on this.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to say that, as you said, from one person from 1,000 people will be interested in Krishna, and then from that 1,000 people, one person will go to Krishna. I'm a bit confused on this. It's like, can you maybe explain?
Yeah, so yeah, that's right. So the thing is, like what Krishna is telling, like we can see and analyze in this material world, right, Swetaji? Like how many people, let's say, if you just tell your friends also, let's go to a Krishna temple, how many people?
No, they're not.
They will not. Why? Because, but you should never feel like, why they're not coming? Am I something like, they say like, why are you doing at this age? Why are you going now? You can go at 60 years or 70 years. Why are you going now? Like sometimes they even discourage you. But we have to understand through Bhagavad Gita, they do not have that sukriti yet. But you have done so much of piety in your previous life. Janmantara sahasreshu tapodana samadbihi naranam shina punyanam Krishna bhakti prajayati. It is mentioned in our Shastras that people, you have done so much of piety, so much of auspiciousness, you would have led a very auspicious life in your previous life. But because of some karmic reaction, we do come again into the material world, because we continue our spiritual journey. Krishna tells Arjuna, wherever you left off in your previous life, that is where you start continuing in this life. So we would have just practiced Krishna consciousness in our previous life. But again, karma is very intricate. We would have done so many things which we would have baggage of good piety as well as with that. But because of some auspiciousness, we would have done, contributed so much of Krishna, we would have come back and taken to Krishna consciousness at some point in our life. Not that as soon as we're born, we're getting into Krishna consciousness. But in general, because this material world is a world of suffering, and because of karmic reaction, we come back into this material world, and again, the degree of suffering and enjoyment. So we can see that when Krishna says out of 1,000, one person is instant spiritual, this is what we can see in this material world, right? How many people are literally interested, and you can see in this material world, people, like there's so many gurus, they get attracted to gurus, but they don't want to go to Krishna, right? They like to listen to a nice guru who is telling them some nice sweet things. Oh, you don't need to do that, you don't need to go and do mantras, they just hang around, just this is all nothing, this is all Brahman. And some person is saying, you know what, even gods are like tools for you, and we never believed in this thing. So there's so many people, gurus, who are misleading, and people just love to go and follow such guru because he never tells you to do anything. He says, he doesn't tell you like, read mantra, you do. But here what we are doing, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, literally, like doing mantra meditation, we are practicing bhakti yoga. There's so many gurus, you know, right? I mean, I don't want to pull out the names. It will get controversial, controversial once it gets into YouTube, but there's so many gurus, very popular. But they don't take Krishna out of the equation. They don't even look at Krishna. They don't listen to a scripture. They don't believe in scriptures, but they're great gurus. They themselves admitted that I never read him in a scripture, but people are following them. Millions of people are following them. So what Krishna is saying is this nature of the material world is because we're covered by these three gunas. And these gunas also, when we come into this material, depending on a karmic reaction and based on the kind of karmas that we've done, we get associated with these gunas. So because of some piety that you have, if you have some piety from your previous life, you could be one of those 1,000 people. You could be not only interested in spirituality, but because of the kind of a piety that you carry forward from your previous life, you get associated with some sattvic people, you get associated with some devotees, and they take you. And then from there, you just carry on. Again, like Krishna, at every stage, Krishna gives you the free will. You know, that free will, whether we can want to be part of Krishna consciousness, carry on, or Krishna gives you the feel whether, yeah, you want to associate with material people and use all the piety and just to enjoy your life in that. So it's all about, depending on how much of piety that you carry from a previous life, you could either just be one among those who could just be interested in spirituality. But if you have more piety, you must have done so much more seva for Krishna in your previous life. And somewhere if it got stopped, then you are continuing that journey in this Krishna consciousness in this life. So the very fact that you're taking to Krishna consciousness, it means that you have done much more than just being interested in spirituality. You would have done much more piety in your previous life, which is giving you this life where you just came across Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Thank you.
So this way we have to take that into this thing that, yes, I would have done so much in this thing that we have. Because when I look at some of the people who follow some of the gurus, who get misled by some of the people in spiritual world also, it really boggles my mind. Like, why is this person following that person? Because they're not spending time in chanting the holy name. They're not spending time in doing service, like devotional service. They're not spending time in any of these things. So by just doing yoga, even if you could be doing Ashtanga yoga also, but how much are you going to, you can only calm your mind by doing pranayama, but it doesn't purify your consciousness, because the whole point of Krishna consciousness is not only just to calm your mind, but to purify your mind, purify your consciousness. And so in a simple way, so that's what Krishna is saying, like, that to make us realize that when we're taking to Krishna consciousness, it's something very rare.
Yes, thank you.
Gayatri, anything you want to? Meenaji, thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Beautiful class, Prabhuji. As I always, lot of references today from Bhagavad Gita, and beautiful class. And as you were mentioning, how people don't even in our own house, sometimes we have different faith and it's hard to convince people. So it's so hard. And yes, Prabhuji, very nice, beautifully explained today about how people, even though they think that they are Sanatan Dharma, they are following, but they don't, they envy Krishna, which is so sad to see. So Krishna, whatever he said in Bhagavad Gita is 100% true. So in so many people, only one person can get elevated and go back home, back to Godhead. So which was really nice, Prabhuji, what you mentioned. And yes, Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class. I'll let Meena Mataji or anybody else want to talk. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Gayatri, that's a wonderful thing, because I was just hearing about somebody talking about Sanatan Dharma, and it really amazes me, Gayatri ji. You would not believe it. Like, even people about Sanatan Dharma, they have their own impressions, which is utter, like, literally, it is like, I can't believe the kind of ignorance that people are living in. And I just tell, even in the mandir also, I tell people straight away, just one sloka from Bhagavad Gita about Sanatan Dharma. Mamaivam sa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Jivatma is called as Sanatana. Paramatma is called as Sanatana. The place from where we came is called as Sanatana. That's why our religion is called as eternal religion, and it's called as Sanatan Dharma. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavad Pranidhim. That means whatever Krishna says, that is Dharma. And that is, Dharma is explained throughout Bhagavad Gita. Whatever instruction Krishna is saying, that is about Dharma. And that's why we call it a Sanatan Dharma. So if you just one book, if you listen to Bhagavad Gita properly, then there won't be any confusion about Sanatan Dharma. Because I'm so appalled to when I keep hearing about people speaking about Sanatan, they come up with their own concepts. They think that Sanatan Dharma is something. Like, so for us, if you want to have clarity of life, just follow on Bhagavad Gita. Just as Lord Shiva tells in Gita Mahatyam, right? Ekam Shastram Devite Putram Gitam, Eko Deva Devaki Putre. If there is one book that we have to follow in Sanatana Dharma, Lord Shiva is telling in Gita Mahatyam, just Bhagavad Gita. That's it. Just follow Bhagavad Gita, spoken by the Supreme Lord.
Yes, Prabhu. Even Shankaracharya says Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Jita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita, but still people don't understand it. And we had I used to have friends at home, and we used to just read Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's, obviously. And after reading all the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, finally, when Krishna says, okay, I have told all these instructions and it's up to you, like whether you want to listen, whether you want to understand and properly live your life, or it's like, it's up to you, he says at the end. And when I was talking about it, and one of my friend is asking, after listening all the Bhagavad Gita, she says, why did they write like this? Why did they? Who is they? Krishna is telling, who is they? For again, people think that someone else wrote this Bhagavad Gita and doesn't believe in Krishna. I was like, okay, that's it. Now I cannot help you anymore.
That's what I'm telling you, Gayatri ji. Very important for us to understand that Krishna doesn't reveal himself to everyone. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrita. Krishna says to the people who do not have the Sukriti, Krishna covers himself with yoga maya. They do not have the Sukriti yet. They are fortunate to be in your association and a devotee's association, because that is their chance to elevate their consciousness to Krishna consciousness. But sometimes, even though they sit with devotees, as you said, still they don't want to progress because they don't have that Sukriti yet. But it's just up to them. But still, if they take that free will, use that free will to saying that, no, I want to know about Krishna, I want to be with the devotees, then you can elevate your consciousness. That's why people miss that opportunity instead of understanding Bhagavad Gita. As you said, that is true. There could be people reading Bhagavad Gita and scratching their head saying that, I don't understand anything, I'm leaving, because that Sukriti, Krishna slowly reveals himself. And for that, we had to be with the devotees and try to understand slowly, step by step, as you rightly said. And that sloka that you tell in Bhagavad Gita is such an important thing, because there's so many religious traditions where literally it's scaremongering. Either you listen to our God, you will go to hell. Everything like scaremongering. Either you listen or you go to hell. But Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in that sloka is so kind. He's saying, think about it, reflect upon it, and take the right decision. This is God. This is God. He doesn't scare you. He's telling you, he's giving you the free will and saying, take the right decision, listen to it and assimilate. That's the reason Bhagavad Gita, every day you should bath in Bhagavad Gita. Every day. And then Krishna reveals himself. Very important for us to understand that point, that Krishna slowly reveals step by step as you keep Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajam. According to how much of faith you keep developing and reading Krishna consciousness in Bhagavad Gita, according to that, Krishna also keeps revealing himself. Hare Krishna. Minaji, anything would like to add?
Hare Krishna. Anything? Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu. Ask me anything?
I was just asking if you have any reflection, if you want to share anything or reflection.
I was just listening some other lectures. I just joined.
Okay.
Other class.
Thank you for joining us, Minaji. Amaga Prabhuji, you were saying something.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, just adding to Gayatri Mataji's Yatechasi Tathakuru. So Lord says Yatechasi Tathakuru, so we all do whatever we like. So generally people take that one as for granted. So Lord only said, whatever we like, we can do it. But they do not understand what Lord has said.
In Kali Yuga, we like to understand the way we want to understand. Not the way God tells us. We want to understand the way we...
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Always adding nectar. So I want to just humbly thank. I know it's getting 9:30. I know everybody has so much on their plate to do. Sanchit Mataji, you were saying something. Did you say Can you add
Hare
something?
Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, very beautiful as always. I mean, it's only get as we I mean, as I always say that the initial Krishna Katha, so many people know, like all these childhood pastimes and all. But deeper as Krishna goes into, I mean, Prabhupada goes into this Krishna book with all his Leela outside Vrindavan. There's so much to take there. Every chapter has its own takeaway. Even here we see, like like in Mahabharata or any other Srimad Bhagavatam pastimes, whoever got there, that's why, of course, we cannot get direct association of Krishna. We are not so fortunate, but the association of devotees for us is so important. But those who got Krishna's association, even like Ajamil, just calling his son's name as Narayan, he got delivered. Duryodhan, he always, Kamsa got delivered, always thinking ill of Krishna. Duryodhan, he saw the Virat Roop, did not accept Krishna, but still he got delivered fighting in the battlefield. And here we see this Shiva Jwara, like, it's being, shot by Lord Shiva just to kill Krishna. But like even coming at the lotus feet, he utters those beautiful mantras and the realization, the amazing assimilation. I mean, just as a weapon, like we think about human beings or animals or anything. This weapon, this is just hoping it's an arrow or cannon or some whatever kind of its weapon. That itself has got also realization. Like when we hear this, Damodar Leela, when we hear that, they say even the milk had consciousness. The flowers on my Yashoda's hair, they had consciousness. So similarly, this weapon also has this consciousness to realize what to do, and is surrendering and then saying these beautiful mantras. So that's my takeaway, Professor Hari. I mean, more and more deep we read it, it gets like ecstatic and so nectarian here. That's Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Such a beautiful thing you added to this. It's really beautiful. Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? Vipin also is having those realizations. So you can imagine. Amazing. Thank you so much, Sanjay. That was really wonderful. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. My
Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. My Dhanavad Pranam, tomorrow Ekadashi. Everyone follows Ekadashi. And very beautiful Kirtan. Last Sunday I saw his Kirtan is very nice. Radha Kokulananda, and 4 o'clock. Very beautiful Kirtan in Temple Hall. Very nice. Thank you for my contribution. You giving 50 pound in contribution. Hari Bol. Jai Jagannath.
Another devotee we are going to do, but we will do as well. Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank
Bol.
you. Hare Krishna.
Can you say the details? Like,
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Sorry?
Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna?
can you say the detail of like
We will
where
share,
we have
Mataji.
to continue?
I shared it in the group and I'll share it. Okay.
Next week, Sangha? Say it.
I will share it in next week and I'll put it across over there.
Sorry, Prabhu, I was supposed to share, but the whole week went in like,
No problem,
some medical issues, and I could not share, Prabhu. I was supposed to share as well in the group.
No problem. Maybe I'll share it with you, Sanchit Mataji. Everybody knows you more than me in next week, Sangha.
No, that's okay, Prabhu. Any of us, so that's not matter. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do it by in a couple of days. I think tomorrow I'll try to share the details in.
Okay.
Prabhu.
I will share with you because we are sharing only the sort code and the account number as Amaga Prabhu rightly mentioned. So I will share it with you. You can just put those details. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Let's all please say 3 loud Hari Bols to Shyam Prabhu. Before we can.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna, and we will see next time.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam
Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti
pavanebhyo
Vaishnavaki
Joy.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Joy.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.